Well, as we've been reporting today, Prime Minister Scott Morrison has justified his ongoing feud with the French President Emmanuel Macron with the release of a leaked text message linked to that scrapped $90 billion submarine contract. Joining us with some analysis is Simon Jackman. He's the CEO of the US Studies Centre. Simon, good to see you. I saw a headline in The Australian today suggesting Joe Biden's thrown Scott Morrison under the bus by criticising the way that the government's handled this French subs issue. Is that a fair description of what's happened here?
Well, I don't know if throwing us under the bus is well done, a sub-editor there at The Australian for that headline. It's great reporting, though, more seriously, by Cam Stewart at the Oz, who was the Washington correspondent for The Australian for a long time during the Trump presidency. So, immediately a lot of people asking, has that come out of our end? Is it a bit of a fire back, perhaps, at the Americans on Joe Biden's use of the term clumsy and saying, I thought the Aussies had this under control with respect to the French. Biden's been working extremely hard to try and patch things up with the French, and I think he does the political calculus. The Aussies can take me using a word or two like clumsy, but he's getting a lot of, to the extent this is a story in the US, it's about not the upside of what AUKUS means, it's the downside on upsetting the French. So I think Biden's under real pressure to be seen to patch that up, and thinking that if a word like clumsy sneaks out, then the relationship with the Aussies is strong enough to take it. Now, what's interesting about this story this morning, though, is this perhaps the Australian government saying, we're going to push back a little bit ourselves. My sense of what Cam has reported in that story in the Oz this morning, that jives with everything we've heard on the nature of the way this arrangement went down. There was just no way an announcement like this is going to be done with letting the French know a good month in advance that it might be happening. This was on a carefully calibrated timeframe. An announcement of this magnitude, of course, you're going to disappoint the French, and of course, you're probably not going to do a public announcement about that until you've got the AUKUS announcement ready to go, literally in real time. And finally, Ash, the only other thing I'd point to in this is that there are elections coming up in France and there are elections coming up in Australia, and I think that might be putting no small measure of heat and light into some of the argy-bargy among three countries now on all of this.